juice? Who's got the juice? Smooth.
There's a forgotten dream. Was it a dream I can't remember, or a dream I won't remember? Have I forgotten the dream, or has the dream forgotten me? But surely there was a dream. Hello, my juicy friends out there. Whether you come from that way or that way in the side of the globe, it doesn't matter, you've all got the juice. Now, before I kick off this review, I just feel as if I should make a quick apology. In my previous video, which was my thank you one to thank everyone who was involved in my new branding and the branding in the past, everyone who's helped me out over the branding stuff, branding. But in that video, I was hinting at what the next review could possibly be with the backing music. Now, that backing music was actually hinting that I was next going to review iToy for the PlayStation 2. I do aim to cover all the iToy games. I do definitely want to do them because it's just... the iToy is such a monster to me. I absolutely love the flippin' thing, and I have so many ideas for it and everything. But I got the footage and everything. Look at it. It was all going to be beautiful. Just look at how beautiful it was all going to be. But when I was coming back to edit it, that was when I discovered that 75% of my footage was incredibly corrupted and glitchy, as my recording software couldn't seem to keep up with the iToy at the time. But when I figured out how to fix this and what to do about it, this, that and the other, I said this, that and the other again, blast it all! I will cover all the iToy games at some point. I hope to cover all of them, or as many as I can, let's say, because I really want to cover them. So I will be getting back to that at some point, just wait until I fixed a few things. But I still wanted to cover a PS2 game, as now I've got a PS3 that we can record PS2 footage. You know, it's one of those old models that can actually play PS2 games. Why did they take this feature out of the PS3? I have no idea. I think it's absolutely stupid. They should have kept it in because it's brilliant. But what shall I play next? Klonoa! Which is why I'm wearing this Klonoa hat. See? It's the one I made when I was 13, which is why it's really crap. Now some of you are going to be like, oh yeah, I know Klonoa, he's that cat with the blue thing that screams Yahoo! And some of you will be like, oh, I've heard of him. He's the one with the really expensive games, isn't he? Oh yeah, that's the one. Well, I was introduced to Klonoa thanks to the PlayStation 1 demo discs. You know when there's always like a specific demo on a disc and you remember the front cover of it and you remember the screenshot on the back of the box when you were trying to look for it? Well, that was me with Klonoa. Whenever I saw the very specific cover and I wanted to play the first levels of Klonoa, that's the one I knew I had to get. I absolutely loved it. I always played it and I know the first few levels like the back of my hand. I think it's absolutely brilliant. And it's always one that I will hold incredibly close and dear to my heart. Even replaying it, I still love it just as much. But I wasn't actually made aware of a second game until many years later. I learnt of this game when I saw it in a video game store in the second-hand aisle. Now, this was at a point where I only had a bit of pocket money, so I couldn't really afford it. But then I saw it some years later in another second-hand store for, I think it was around £16 or £20, somewhere in that area, and I bought it immediately. In fact, when I picked up this game and I took it to the till to buy it, I remember the sales assistant behind the till being like, oh, that's not fair! I was going to buy this game after my shift! And I remember just stood there being like, how do I respond to this? I just wanted to play Klonoa too, so now I am officially a dick. Now I'm sure a lot of you have maybe seen someone else play Klonoa or have seen the game being played with someone else, which is kind of the same thing. I'm going to start that take again. Now I hope a lot of you have already played the first Klonoa game, or if not you've seen someone else play it, or you've seen loads of screenshots of it, this, that and the other, or you might have looked into the plot already. But for those of you who haven't, I feel as if I should give a brief summary of the first game, as the second game is a direct sequel to it. So, spoilers! Kinda. Here's a cat-like creature called Klonoa playing in the woods. Boom! Turns out explosion was a ring with a blob in it. Best friends. They play and then boom! Another big explosion. This one is a big evil nightmare man called Gadius and his accomplice Joker, and he wants to rid the world of dreams and fill it with nightmares. But Klonoa ain't having that! So he defeats big bad people and saves the world by saving a singer who sings a song. And it's also happy. But it's not, because Klonoa doesn't actually belong in this world, he belongs in a dream world, and so he has to say bye to Hugh Pow and free! Off he goes into Klonoa 2. And it's all very sad. This game made me cry 3 times, and I'm not afraid to show it. So now we know the overall summary of the first game, let's jump straight into the second game. Klonoa 2, Lunatea's Veal, or Vile, no, it would be Veal. I think it's like, it's Lunatea. I know that's how they pronounce it, I think, so they always go Lunatea. But it's like, is it Veal? I think it's Lunatea's Veal. I think that's how you pronounce it. Klonoa 2, Lunatea's Veal was published by Namco and was released in 2001 on the PlayStation 2 in Japan, Europe and North America. And its reviews were, oh wow, bloomin' heck, I didn't expect the reviews to be like this! I mean, I was thinking positive, but not this positive. Congratulations, game. Oh, and by the way, whenever you play this game or any Klonoa game, you always have to go, Yahoo! Yahoo! It's just something you have to do. So the game boots up with the same deep shit about dreams, just like the first game. Look at these, they're basically the exact same. And we see Klonoa falling through the teleport of dreams? Or a big black pit. And there's a voice that's calling for help and Klonoa's like, oh shit, what was that? And then splash, he's in the ocean. Poor kid didn't even get a chance to gather his senses. But luckily for him, he's saved by... Ow! I really hope that voice isn't a common occurrence. These two lovely looking creatures. Small girl and... that. Just look at his eyes, they sort of move around with his body. Ugh. We have Lolo, who is a priestess in training in this world, and we also have... Popka. Yeah, you know that squeaky voice we heard earlier? Guess who it belongs to? Lolo is the sweet, pure little character who is kind and wants to save the world and is all innocent and happy. And Popka is her sarcastic, sassy sidekick. The Klonoa universe has always had its own little language, which I have never had a problem with. I mean, listen to Klonoa speak it. It's lovely. But then when you listen to Popka speak it... Shut up! So it turns out that these guys know of Klonoa, saying that he has the name of the legendary dream traveler. And then there are monsters, which is apparently not a common thing in this world, and they literally just ask Klonoa to help them. We have no idea what Klonoa's helping them with. I mean, literally, they just ask him for help and then Lolo puts herself in his ring. Is that an innuendo? Nah, it shouldn't be an innuendo. I should be good. You know what, Klonoa? I don't even blame you for being confused right now. And we start the game. I have to say, this is a much duller way to start the game in comparison to the first game. The first game was all brightly coloured and happy and lovely, and here we have grey and rain. The first level, or vision, sorry, is used as a tutorial. We're introduced to the fact that this game's a 2.5D platformer with these little guys jumping in to get us. Just look at them, they're so sweet. We discover that when we attack enemies, we don't just hit them and then boom, that's it. We actually inflate them and then use them to our advantage. You can throw your enemies at these little leg things, which always remind me of Christmas. I don't know why. It's like sort of like mince pies and holly. Does anyone else get this vibe? Throw them at each other or use them as a double jump. Whilst holding an inflated enemy, Klonoa can still jump normally as if he didn't have the enemy. But then if you jump again whilst in midair, he'll slam dunk them into the ground and go higher. And here we have Klonoa running up to the wall. Oh, here he comes. He's gonna go, oh, look at that slam dunk, ladies and gentlemen. When Klonoa jumps, he can also use his ears to hover temporarily, which can be a lifesaver if you use it in the right situations. And look at him. He looks as if he's trying to doggy paddle in the air, the little nuggets. The common enemies in this game pretty much came straight from the first game, which I was very happy with. They were all memorable, had lovely designs, and all had different purposes. There was no need to change them. These guys are also called moves, which is just freaking adorable. The red moves just plod about enjoying life, really. They're not doing anything wrong at all, but this world that's filled with creatures is like, no, this thing is definitely an evil monster. Kill it, inflate it, and kill it! I mean, just look at this guy. He's just sleeping and looking just so content with life. And then you have Popka throwing his arms about going, kill him! Now who would you say is the enemy here? This lovely little blob who looks all happy and sweet and content, or this random little creature here who looks like he's threatening Klonoa with his arms flailing about? You be the judge. You could also have bigger versions of these monsters, flying monsters, bomb monsters, ones which you can only attack from above, ones which levitate you for a bit, ones with shields, and Sonic the Hedgehog is back! And he has tiny T-Rex arms! There are also new enemies who appear in this game, but they're mainly used to help you with platforming as you need their abilities to reach certain areas. The main two I would say are these guys, as they can propel you higher and higher depending on how much you press X, and these guys who I really liked because they literally just shoot you in the air like a rocket and it's just so much fun. But then you also have ones like these guys. These guys are needed to unblock your path, but you need to throw them into other enemies in order to change their color, and if you mess up then you need to do it all over again, and after a while it gets a little bit repetitive, just doing the same routine over and over again and then just throwing them all over the place. But the enemies aren't the only things that help you with platforming. The game also has added quite a few new features to help you out. In the first game, you pretty much just had all the enemies to help you with the platforming, but now we have these green blobs which you can hold on to and do the exact same thing as if it was an enemy, so personally I don't really see the point in them. You could have just put an enemy here and made the game a bit more challenging. Different types of, let's say, trampolines. And you also have these cannons to help add the 2.5D elements to this game. It just shoots you to the platforms in front or behind you. So back to the story so far. We reach this island which we were told to go to and we ring a bell. Yay! You know what, Klonoa? You are just speaking my thoughts right now. So now we're off to see a big blue dude to tell him this exciting news. And he provides us with the overall premise of this game. We are in a world called Lunatea, which is divided into 4 kingdoms. And each kingdom has a bell within it, much like the one Lola hit earlier. They maintain peace throughout their world and all contain what's known as an element. But there is a 5th bell that is appearing which will inflict chaos on this world, summoning monsters and making their priestesses ill. So the professor who prophesizes asks Klonoa to help. To which he is like, well, I guess? And so off we go to save this world of evil. But in order to ring these bells, you have to be a priestess and you have to have the power of this ring. And Lola's like, this means I'm finally a priestess! Sounds more like Toad. It's like, hi, you're a priestess! Klonoa, help me ring a bell! But we have no time to lose our shit, as there is also an evil pirate who also wants to ring the bells and take all of the elements. Meet this is so hard to say. Meet Leorina and Tat, who are our main villains in the game. They're alright. I mean, I wouldn't say these guys are evil or menacing or anything, they're just more in the way. Nothing like these guys. At least the level select sound makes me happy. I love this noise. And I want to make a remix out of this noise. Now the levels themselves are pretty entertaining. You have a variety of levels depending on the kingdoms. For example, you have one kingdom which focuses purely on fun and joy, so it's based in a theme park. And you have another kingdom which only focuses on war and fighting, so it's a burning city. There's some really nice contrasts in these, and the animation is just so smooth and it looks really clean. Apart from when Klonoa runs left. I don't know why, but when he runs right he's facing the direction he's going, but when he runs left, what is this? How is he running? It's even funnier when the enemies look as if they're walking up a hill. I mean, just look at them, they're so stupid. But I have to say, I much prefer the graphics in the first game, as the first game is so bright and crisp, and it's just a pleasure to look at. Whereas I felt that this game could look too smooth, you know? Take the gems as a prime example. In the first game, they look like gems. Look at them, they're gorgeous, they're bright, they're crisp, and they just look like gems. But in this game, they've just smoothed them out too much, and it just made them look quite dull and blunt. But this is all just me being very picky. And I also much prefer Klonoa's original design, but that's just personal preference. Now, this game does have fun little platforming challenges, but I have to say again, I didn't find them as challenging as the first game. However, they are much more puzzling. Where this game lacks in challenge, it makes up for in puzzles, as there are so many more different types of platforming puzzles in this game, which was an element that I really liked. Apart from these ones. They're really long and repetitive! And this might be due to my nostalgia, I will admit, but these levels are nowhere near as memorable or impactful to me as the first game. But since I know that this could be me being biased, I'm not going to make a complaint out of it, but I'm just more stating it out of interest. And whilst I'm comparing the two, another element that just wasn't as good as the first game for me was the music. Oh, the music in the original game has such beautiful music! And don't get me wrong, this soundtrack is also really good, but it doesn't hit the same mark. See what I mean? But I will say, I loved this song in the game, purely for the opening few seconds. But this game does give you more variety in terms of the levels. By this I mean you don't always just run from side to side or have 2.5D elements, which are still really cool, but you also have moments where you run away from boss battles, and you even have levels where you go surfing! The chase-in sequences are tight, and there were quite a few moments where I was either caught or I felt as if I was really close to getting caught. And the surfing levels are the most memorable in the game. You just go down these rivers, avoiding obstacles, just going whee! And they're so relaxing and fun. And I do wish that there was more of them, but at the same time, I really don't want to spoil the treat. And you also have this goat-looking thing who provides you with time trials and a scrapbook for the art of the game. To get pages for the scrapbook, you need to collect 150 gems in a level, which apparently I only did once, so I only got this one image, rip my life. And to get the time trials, you need to collect 6 of these little star bubbles in a level. But the time trials are only for the boss battles, which are quite fun. They're simple, I'll give it that, but they do have very interesting designs and require you to test what you've recently learned in the levels just before it. But this song wasn't in them. Ah, my head. Oh, never go to a gig, kids. Head banging is uncomfortable. My favourite boss battle had to be this clown, as look at this guy. He's so awesome. And he laughs as if he's been punched in the gut and is winded. Now, I was really invested in this game. Really invested. But I came across a teeny tiny problem. It froze. Twice. The first time this happened was when I was just about to start the surfing level. Literally, it just froze on like the vision part of it on the title. So I could easily just restart the game and then just start from scratch. That was nice and easy. But the second time it happened, I was 30 minutes into a level and it was filled with puzzles like these, and you know what, I just thought, nah. Like, I've been recording for like 3.5 hours and I just thought, nah. I wanted to see all of the boss levels, I wanted to see who was calling for help with Klonoa and that weird white dreamy land place thing. I wanted to see what the pirates were really after and how the whole plots unfold, and all the questions I had about this game, I wanted them all to be answered. But, you know, when you're just playing it for so long and then you're just like, nah. But I did briefly look up the ending of this game. I don't want to completely spoil it for myself, but I will already say that a lot of my questions have been answered, so yay! So that's Klonoa 2 Lunatea's Veal for you. All in all, a really fun game. I can definitely see why the reviews were so high for it. It really is a good successor to the first game. I know I kept on comparing it to the first game, but can you blame me? The first game is such a classic and I have so much love for the first game that I just couldn't help but compare the two. If you would like to go into like the whole Klonoa series, then I would recommend you check out the first game first, which kind of makes a bit sense, you know, sometimes in a story it's like, oh, check out the first game and then you'll understand the second game, but honestly, please check out the first game. I think it's just got that little bit more love to it, it's just got a bit more heart to it, and it's just such a more enjoyable experience, at least it is for me anyway, but I could just be incredibly biased and nostalgic over it because I absolutely love the first one. But the second one is still really good. I had a great time playing it and it's definitely got the juice. So if you do want to check out the Klonoa series, please do. A lot of people love it and I hope you will as well. You know that everyone's gonna say that you're really biased in this review, right? Oh, shut up!